Hey, welcome in.
Welcome to the Arrowhead Addict podcast.
We are here coming to you live.
Let me tell you, the dopamine, it's flowing.
I am damn excited. Damn excited.
We are so excited to be joining you guys tonight.
Oh! Well, how you doing, man? Patrick.
Will, Sterling.
Yeah.
Super Bowl champion, two-time Pro Bowler, and Trent Green. Trent Green, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Oh, he picked it up! He picked it up! He's gonna score!
And we'll see you next week. But until then, as always, go Chiefs.
Welcome into the Arrowhead Addict pregame show. My name is Price Carter, and I am joined today by my fellow intangible bro, Christian Ainsworth. As we did not have a show today, we'll be getting you ready for Chiefs kickoff here on Monday Night Football, hosting the Washington Commanders. Real quick, let's get to the key inactives for this game and the weather report. Here in Kansas City, it feels like fall. It is a nice 52 degrees with just a little bit of a wind, 5 to 7 miles per hour. It should be 52, 53, pretty much the full game. No percent chance of rain, like 6% chance, and winds from 5 to 7 miles per hour. So honestly, a perfect night for Monday Night Football. Weather should not be an element. When it comes to the inactives, this is where part of some of the major storylines in this game take place. Let's first go to your Kansas City Chiefs. Who's in, who's out. Christian Fulton is once again a healthy scratch. Jalen Royals is a scratch in this game, healthy scratch. I would, just chalk that up to the sheer amount of wide receiver talent that the Chiefs have right now. It was really hard to justify a roster spot for him when you have 4 or 5 wide receivers that you feel can go out there. And also factoring in that Nico Remigio brings a little bit more on special teams than Royals does as a returner. Jared Wiley, the tight end, is inactive. Elijah Mitchell, once again, inactive. Here's where the significance is. Trey Smith, his back locked up on him last week. He left the game injured against the Raiders. You didn't know if that was just due to game script or if that was a lingering injury. He is out tonight. Mike Caliendo will get the start at right guard. Josh Simmons is still inactive, and Malik Herring for the Chiefs. On the other side of the ball, again, where the significant stories lie in this game. Quarterback Jaden Daniels, the star from LSU who led them to the NFC Championship last year, will not be playing tonight. It'll be Marcus Mariota. Kind of funny to have one Heisman candidate back, or Heisman winner backing up another. Noah Igbenogany, the corner. And another significant story in this game is Matt Gay, the kicker for the Commanders. He has a back injury and is not going to be able to go in this game. So they will be having a substitute kicker, which is, wait for it, Matthew Wright, the guy who kicked the game-winning kick against the Chargers last year for the Chiefs to win the division. So a backup kicker for the Commanders today. Other inactives, A.L. Kehu, the linebacker, Trent Scott, the tackle, George Fant, the tackle, and Colson Yankoff, who has an unfortunate last name for him. He's a tight end. So that's the key stories here in this game. Looks like we've already got the chat filling up. Go ahead and share this video, like it, subscribe it. Come talk Chiefs with us instead of listening to Monday Night Football yammer on about whatever they're going to talk about. We'll actually talk about the Chiefs and the key storylines in this game. So, Christian, let's just get a pulse check here. How are we feeling about this game coming in as we are just about 15, 20 minutes away from kickoff?
I want to say overly confident, borderline cocky. Like, after the performance the Chiefs have put on over the past couple of weeks, it just seems like we're unstoppable right now, and we're facing a Commanders team that's riddled with injuries, don't have their starting quarterback. It's like, this is a can't lose, right? Or a trap game. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah, I think, you use the T word there with the trap game. I think it's probably a little bit more of a look ahead situation more than anything, with a big matchup with the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo coming in just a few days, as the Chiefs will be basically on a short week here, headed up to Buffalo, and what a game that, could potentially decide playoff seeding and potentially even the 1 seed. The Commanders, I think this is one of those games that just goes to show you, look, it's the only NFL news we get. So we get all hot and bothered for it in April and May when the NFL schedule releases. But when you're doing that, you should mute yourself when you do that. Just so you know, my ears are absolutely dying.
Dude, I'm
whenever you do
hitting the
that.
mute button. My bad.
Yeah, you might use the manual mute just for.
Okay,
just for
I got you.
Sorry, or this is how the sausage is made, folks. Here, I just thought I'd save you such a you got a little something in your throat.
No, thank you.
But I will say this. My thought is this. I would say with this game, I don't quite fear the T trap word. Like I said, this game looked a lot different on the schedule a few months ago, a few weeks ago, when it was supposed to be Jane Daniels. This is one of those games that you could have been like, oh, maybe I have the Chiefs losing to the Commanders. But this game has taken on a much different feel. And the Commanders, frankly, are a team headed in a much different direction than, honestly, their trajectory to start the season. And even the last couple of weeks, they are limping through this right now, and they're an aging roster. They have lots of holes, and I think if we're going to talk about the biggest mismatch in this game, the unit that is the weakest in this game, it's the Commanders defense. And for some reason, they have an infatuation surrounding a young superstar quarterback with some of the oldest players in the NFL, and that limitation athletically, I think that's a big mismatch for the Chiefs tonight.
Oh yeah, big time. And I mean, you mentioned that that struggling unit for them defensively. Joe Witt, their defensive coordinator, I think is a good one. He's been around the league for a while, but he is very talented. Whenever he has a complete roster, he's doing a great job. But not having Dietrich Weiss, not having what's the other guy, Dorian Armstrong. He's on IR as well. So those are two big pass rushers that they're not going to have coming into this game. And when you watch that Cowboys game that they played last week, when they gave up 409 yards of total offense, it just seems like, if the Chiefs are going to pick on some sort of, one side of the ball, if they're going to go after one side of the ball, it seems like it has to be the defense.
To your point, another significant, the injury report's a big part of this game. Dorrance Armstrong suffered a season-ending injury last week. He generated 25 pressures this season, which is 9 more than any other Commanders defender. With Armstrong on the field, the Commanders have generated a 41.2 pressure rate, which will rank third highest amongst all players in the NFL. Without Armstrong, they have posted a 36% mark, which would rank 12th highest in the NFL. The starting edges without Armstrong available tonight will be Jacob Martin and Von Miller, who have combined for just 31 pressures on 231 pass rush snaps. That's a 13.4 pressure rate versus Armstrong, who was at 19.1. So he was their best pass rusher, and he's out for this game. And then you're relying on, I think Von Miller has looked a little bit better than what he looked in Buffalo, but he's nowhere near the guy that he used to be. And then if you get to the next level, they are relying on Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner is great running downhill and filling the gap, but he is not Legion of Boom Bobby Wagner anymore. This could be a spot that I could see the Chiefs going empty and trying to create mismatches in the middle of the field. Their other linebacker, Frankie Louvu, same type of way. He is not a type of guy that you want running stride for stride with Rashee Rice, with Juju Smith-Schuster, with Travis Kelce, honestly. And I think that there's a lot of mismatches to be had in the back end of this defense, especially with, honestly, a really interesting player, a player that a lot of us were pandering for the Chiefs to trade for, Marshawn Lattimore last year. He has been brutal this year, and honestly has been brutal since he got to Washington. They gave up a lot of picks for him, and he is a frequent target. Don't be surprised if you hear his name called a lot in coverage.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's not only the outside cornerbacks that are giving them problems. 90 yards per game allowed from the slot. So if this is a game for Rashee Rice to feast and get back and have more than, the amount of yards he had last week, and, Xavier Worthy maybe take advantage of that as well, this is absolutely the team to do it against. My thing, though, is if I'm the Chiefs and you're facing a Commanders defense that over the last 4 games has allowed 145 rushing yards per game. Now, granted, those are against some, pretty good rushing teams. This, to me, is an Isaiah Pacheco get-right game. I think that they get under center. I think they attack downhill and, give Isaiah Pacheco maybe a little bit of confidence going into what will be a tough stretch.
Yeah, he has definitely looked better the last couple of weeks compared to how he started off the season. I do wonder how much of that is just consistency, like getting him reps and getting him multiple chances to carry the ball. It feels like the rotation has been a little bit less. And also, I think that, we've seen an improvement from Kintu Suamatia on the inside. I honestly think Jalen Moore brings a little bit more as a run blocker than Josh Simmons. I think Josh Simmons is the better pass protector. Obviously, he's the higher upside overall at the position just due to age and the future of the franchise as the draft pick goes. But yeah, I think that there's a chance here for this. This front is not particularly large, right? We talk about the players on the inside for the Commanders. The best player on the inside is Deron Payne, and he's a guy who's gotten a real contract. But then it's Javon Kinlaw, who it's just frankly never really lived up to the billing of what he was supposed to be as a draft pick. And then is just Jerzon Newton, who is kind of a draft cuff. He's out of Illinois. Eddie Goldman, Preston Smith, who is the fact that Von Miller's being backed up by Preston Smith just tells you like their infatuation for age, man. I sincerely do not understand why they seem to go so old. And again, going back to that secondary too, it's not just Lattimore, Mikey Sanders still. He's a guy I loved coming out of Michigan. I loved him in the slot, not outside. They cannot make up their mind what they're doing with him. They're consistently moving him in and out, and he is not Trent McDuffie, who can just do that. Going to the stats overall for the defense, this is the Washington Commanders defense where they rank 29th in yards, 22nd in points allowed, 18th in defensive DVOA, 25th in EPA per play, 23rd in rush yards allowed, 19th in EPA per a rush, 27th in pass yards allowed, 24th in EPA per a drop back, and 14th in sacks. Keep in mind they just lost their top sack getter. So this defense, it is right for the picking for this Chiefs offense. It feels like the Chiefs, honestly, in this game, what is it? A race to 24? 25, 26? Like you start getting in that zone, you start feeling really good about the Chiefs defense. One, their ability to hold down this Commanders offense, and also like the Chiefs offense to ability to keep putting pressure on it. And that's something that I think we talk, the last couple of years we've talked about the Chiefs and the mystique of the Chiefs, the lore of the Chiefs. It's fallen off a little bit. Teams aren't afraid when the Chiefs come in. And part of that fear was, oh my God, we're going to punt the ball back and Patrick Mahomes is going to get it and he's going to go down and score. And you saw teams press. Even that terrible 2018 defense, the game script was they would defer. They'd get a 3 and out. The Chiefs go down and score 7, and then they were chasing points the rest of the game. And they were never going to catch up because you just weren't going to stop that offense. So I do think that this is a game where the offense can apply just as much pressure as the defense, obviously, as the Commanders are, without their best player in Jane Daniels.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's interesting, too, as far as their offense goes with Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, who, if you're a fantasy guy, you know exactly who that is. If you're a casual layman fan of the NFL, like you might have no idea who that running back is, but he's a rookie coming out, averaging 5.2 yards per carry. He's another guy that I think could be a major player. But if you're the Kansas City Chiefs defense, you're looking at that and you're saying, okay, they have Deebo Samuel, who, again, an oldie coming onto a new team from the 49ers. You have Terry McLaurin, who's actually getting up there in age, which surprised me when I saw that stat, or his age, looking up the stats for the game. And coming off of injury, to me, it seems like you can go man across the board and just focus on stopping that run game. And if you can do that, make Marcus Mariota throw one-on-one stuff, I think the Chiefs have a really good advantage there.
Yeah, and I think, that might be doing a little disservice. Obviously, one of the inactives and the actives in this game are a significant story, is going to be just, this is the first time in a long time they have both Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin on the field together, as you said. Terry, like, if you want me to write a script where this game is close in the fourth quarter or we're sweating this one out, it starts with Terry McLaurin going down the field. Sometimes these type of situations are dangerous. Marcus Mariota, he is a real backup quarterback, probably one of the better in the league. He started a litany of games. We've all known that he's broken the Chiefs' heart many years ago in Arrowhead. Different time, different era, but he's capable. If this goes to, Terry McLaurin's a real great weapon down the field. If they can get a couple of deep shots to him, get Deebo Samuel going in the intermediate part, taking advantage of like Nick Bolton in coverage or Shamari Connor in coverage, and then just getting enough out of Mariota's legs and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, that's where it starts. But those deep shots, I feel like that is a big part of the game that they've been missing. They've got the rookie Jalen Lane out of Virginia Tech, who's kind of their gadgety, kind of like a discount Xavier Worthy type of player. But I do think that there is more to this. Like, I don't think this is a game that you can just quote unquote sell out to stop the run.
Really? Because I see guys like Zach Ertz on the inside as they're kind of underneath sort of Travis Kelce type player. And I just love the matchup there between, Drew Tranquill and Zach Ertz. And I think that, Trent McDuffie has struggled with size, especially, coming from the slot or on the outside when he's been forced out there. But as far as Terry McLaurin goes, coming off of injury, this seems like the perfect time to, sort of dial up some stuff that we haven't seen so far this year with, increased blitz rate, keeping those guys one-on-one on the outside. I just love the matchups.
Yeah, and I mean, like this offensive line for the Commanders last year, I think it really overperformed expectations, especially when you factor in it was like half of the Chiefs' cast-offs at offensive line where they were starting Nick Allegretti and Nick Allegretti and Andrew Wiley. I like combine their names. But this year they make a big trade to bring in Laramie Tunsil. He's been really good. He's definitely been their best offensive lineman. Chris Paul is starting at left guard, backed up by Brandon Coleman, who started at left tackle for them last year. You got Tyler Biadasz at center, Sam Cosmi at right guard. He is backed up by Nick Allegretti, and then Josh Connerly. He was the pick. Like they selected Josh Connerly over Josh Simmons, and he has struggled. They kicked him over to the right side. They saw those videos from the Senior Bowl of him getting his ass whooped by Mike Green. They're like, you know what? Let's get him over on the right side all the time. Don't mind the player. Just not sure about that process there. But he has struggled at right tackle. He would be the worst tackle the Chiefs have on the roster right now. I shouldn't say on the roster, active, right? Like I think Moore, Simmons, and Taylor all perform better than him. So I expect to see some Chris Jones lined up over there. And the inside is nothing that you're writing home about either. Both Wiley and Allegretti are backups now. So some familiar faces there. But yeah, I mean, Zach Ertz doesn't scare me. Like this might be the rare matchup where the Chiefs have the younger, more athletic tight end as their starter. Yeah, which is, very strange. I don't know the age, but I Zach Ertz has never been a yak guy. He's been a red zone weapon. I definitely think that they would look for him down there. And to the point of Marcus Mariota's legs, I think we always kind of back in the old days, like, when Marcus Mariota was in college, running quarterback just meant such different things back then, right? It was like, oh, look at him. He's running. He's not in the pocket. That would be like, oh, he rushes for like 50 or 60 yards in a game. Nowadays, you get games from Lamar where it's like, oh, he rushed for 120 and scored 3 touchdowns. Marcus Mariota, as far as like what he's done in the games that he started this year, because he has started 3 games as a rusher. These are his yards. Let's see here. Why can't I find the yards? 27, 24, 56. That's nothing to panic about, right? Like that's not a game-breaking rusher. Like he can get out of trouble, but I mean, honestly, Trevor Lawrence was more of a rushing threat and presented more of a rushing threat the last time the Chiefs played on Monday Night Football.
Well, yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like a lot is being made of that where the Chiefs are going to have to put a spy. I've seen that multiple times this week leading up to the game. And that to me is just a non-existent reality. I think Marcus Mariota is a great backup quarterback. I think that he could probably start on a few teams in the league. It's not saying a whole lot when you look at the Vikings and what they're doing over there, but like he's a average, above average quarterback that can kill you if you allow him to. And I just don't see that happening with this Chiefs defense. And you talk about that running aspect of his game. I think that is a utility or sort of a gadget thing that he can do, but it's not something that the Chiefs are going to panic about seeing on tape. This is not a Lamar Jackson. This is not even a Trevor Lawrence, as you said, where we've got to have a spy and we've got to keep an extra guy in the box and allow him to attack outside. Like this is absolutely a game plan that can be molded defensively multiple ways. And that is not, I don't think, a key factor you need to be paying attention to.
Let's get to a couple questions in the chat here. A couple good questions. One from Slothy here. Which 2 practice squad players got elevated? Great question. Chiefs had some players to elevate with Trey Smith, with Josh Simmons, both being out. They placed Omar Norman-Lott on the practice squad. They recently elevated, now I can't remember his name. Not Christian Fulton. Kevin Knowles, the corner. Yeah. He is active tonight. He will be a special teams guy. He did get some run with the second team in camp. I think they liked him as kind of a rotational body. We've seen them kind of fall in love with these guys like an Echo Boydo type of player where it's more of special teams. And then maybe they like him in some situations down in the red zone or something like that. They also today elevated CJ Hansen, the former 7th round draft pick out of Holy Cross, and Marlon Tuipulotu, who has been kind of an up and down taxi squad guy for them in defensive tackle. Obviously with Omar Norman-Lott being down, they have some need for along the interior of the line. Weston Brewster asked, Price, have you heard anything as to why they're not using Jalen Royals? My simple response to that is that I just don't think that there's a huge need. You start off the season with him being out the first 2 or 3 weeks. I think that there was a need. I think he could have found snaps when you're without Xavier Worthy, when you're without Rashee Rice. The development of Tyquan Thornton becoming, a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 for this offense, getting Rashee Rice back, getting Xavier Worthy back, Hollywood Brown staying healthy. I think Juju Smith-Schuster looks like the better version of himself. Keep in mind, too, this guy was a 4th-round pick at wide receiver. I still have hopes for him. I do think that there is a role for him, and I thought he looked good in camp. I thought, his role could be something like Juju's is. I don't think he's quite dynamic after the catches of Rashee Rice. The body comps are there, but getting a redshirt year for a guy like this, it's not a bad thing. If the Chiefs wide receivers were struggling and he was still a healthy scratch, then I think you'd raise your eyebrows about that. But I think it's a good situation. This is what some of the best franchises do, by the way. This is a different situation, but the Broncos last year, they draft Troy Franklin, a guy who played with Bo Nix at Oregon. Last year, he was kind of a nothing burger. This year, he's really kind of come into his own. Second-year development for wide receivers is great. Think about back to Sky Moore's rookie year. All the pressure with the drops and the punt returns and how much pressure they put on him right away. There's no doubt that made a huge impact on his development. So Royals, they take all the pressures off of him. Who knows if he'll be active some weeks not. And again, I think it really just comes down to special teams. Remigio brings more in the return game. He's the guy that they trust back there. So I would say that is probably not a bad sign for Jalen Royals, but more of just a development plan.
Well, yeah, and it just so happens to have coincided with, him being a rookie and getting that kind of rev up that all rookies get in Andy Reid's offense with, the wide receivers being down and then coming back. That to me it's not coincidental that he's not getting as many reps with all the wide receivers coming back, but also, like you said, this is a rookie wide receiver who needs to ramp up in a complicated Chiefs offense. It should be no caution, or there should be, no apprehension as to, determining whether or not he's a good player or not thus far.
Now, we haven't really talked about what is the biggest matchup in this game, and quite honestly, something that's not being talked about enough. Were you aware, Christian, that the Chiefs actually, they changed it. So little behind the scenes here. I pulled most of these stats on Thursday because I do things when it's convenient for me. And since they've updated some of the PFF scores going into Thursday, Marcus Mariota, it still is. So he doesn't meet the snap minimums. Do you know that the Chiefs have the worst quarterback in this game, according to Pro Football Focus?
Yes, I did. Did we have the worst quarterback in the last game that we played?
Underdogs. Nobody. Yeah. They do not have Geno Smith's season grade higher, but according to PFF, Geno Smith outperformed Patrick Mahomes. In this game, both Jaden Daniels is at 11th and Marcus Mariota tied for 6th in PFF quarterback score. Patrick Mahomes is at 14th. Nobody believes in the Kansas City Chiefs. They're underdogs, scrappy underdogs. The Kansas City Chiefs are. Let's get over some of the stats for the Chiefs here on offense. We've talked about it. Even though they're, dragging this poor quarterback along, here's what they've been doing offensively lately. 5th in yards, 4th in points. They're 2nd in offensive DVOA, 2nd in EPA per play, 9th in rush yards, 3rd in EPA per rush. That's a big Patrick Mahomes stat, by the way, being 3rd in EPA per rush, 6th in pass yards, 5th in EPA per dropback. And, we already said Patrick Mahomes is the 14th rated quarterback via PFF. So, again, that's a huge mismatch there. I think that this will be a major issue. Oh, we've got another comment here from P. Harrell 13. Hey, Price and Christian, longtime listener, first-time caller. Over under on number of manufactured screens for Rashee Rice tonight. I'm thinking at least 3. Thanks, guys. I'll hang up and listen. Dear friend Preston in the show here. Here's what I will tell you. Christian, you work for FTN. I work for FTN as well. The amount of backside screen RPOs that exist in NFL offenses is shocking. The amount of times where the quarterback, the offensive lineman fire off the ball, the quarterback has the option to stick the ball in the gut of the running back or pull it and throw a backside screen. Like I watched Joe Flacco do that to Jamar Chase 15 times in the game from yesterday. So I feel like 3 is very, very possible. And there's a lot of variations of that, right? One of the things that I really like that they've kind of incorporated, this was a Sarkisian thing where they're doing this with Brashard Smith too. And honestly, if you're looking at the under for that, Brashard Smith's the biggest threat because I think Brashard Smith and Rashee Rice's role, there's some overlap there with the design carries, which I think is good too, because you want to keep the wear and tear off of Rashee Rice. But they're doing these lane screens where basically Bashard Smith will go out, he'll catch a screen, and you think it's a dump off in the flat, but on the other hash, they're setting up a screen there. So then there's a cutback lane, and then he's in it. So those have been really cool for sure. So I definitely think like 3.5. If you're looking at the underdog for receptions, it's hard not to like the over for Rashee Rice. I don't have it in front of me, but I am sure that if it's, 5.5, you'd still take the over.
Oh yeah, probably. I mean, you talk about other teams doing it a lot and other teams in the NFL. It's like I'm charting Green Bay right now with Jordan Love and Matthew Golden. And it seems like they've done that at least one time every single time they've had the football. Like every drive, they're throwing one RPO screen backside to Matthew Golden. And, especially with a team like this with Washington where they're allowing 90 yards per game out of the slot, it just seems like a recipe for Rashee Rice to just go off, whether it's from those wide receiver screens or from, a little bit of the down the field action.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, the Chiefs did not have to show virtually anything. Like they just RPO spammed the Raiders to death in inside zone. Like that was really all they had. There was not a bunch of creativity in that performance at all. That's okay. That's Andy Reid's dream, that game where he can basically run a preseason playbook out there, play the hits, get out of there. The only thing is some players got injured, but other than that, that's his ideal game.
Well, that's not Andy Reid's game because we won by 31. If it's Andy Reid's ideal game, it's a 1-score game going into the fourth.
We'll get the Chiefs actually like meat's back on the menu, boys. Blowouts are back on the menu. The Chiefs. They have the best point differential of all but like one team in the NFL, despite having a 4-3 record right now. So they have been actually pretty good at blowing teams out lately, which, we're looking at the point spread right now at 10.5. Do you think the Chiefs cover the 10.5, Christian?
Well, I don't think so. I think 10.5 is a little too generous, especially for a team that this could be a situation. We talked about it at the top of the hour with, this being sort of a trap game or a look ahead game. I know you don't think that that's a possibility, but it definitely, for me, there's a chance where there's a backdoor cover and we win by 7. And Andy Reid's just fine with that. And Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs were rah-rahing, but you lost your $50. So I would not bet the over.
I just keep looking at Trey Amos, Jeremy Reeves, Quan Martin, Marshawn Lattimore, Mikey Sanders still as the corners that are going to be stopping this Chiefs offense. And I like their chances of getting there. And also keep in mind, like, Chiefs haven't really been turning the ball over. I will say like one thing, like if we're going to talk about something the Chiefs have been incredible at this year, they have had 2 turnovers two turnovers. Yeah.
You're right.
Because they've not lost a single fumble. They've gotten back on all their fumbles. Mahomes has went and gotten 2 and 3 of his own fumbles. One of them was kind of that fluky backwards pass with Isaiah Pacheco, the tackle that turned the tide, as Nick Wright says. And then he got on one of his from Aiden Hutchinson a couple of weeks ago. They have been pretty fortunate in that area. And one of the interceptions, by the way, like bounced off of Travis Kelce's hands. And we've already dived well into the dialogue of PFF scores and turnover-worthy plays, as Patrick Mahomes had a couple of them last week. So maybe that's where the variance happens, right?
Well,
but
go ahead.
I was just going to say, it does truly feel like if the Commanders are going to win this game, covering's a little bit different, but you don't want to take a dog unless they can win outright, right? Like that's free gambling advice from me. That's the only one I'll give you. Don't take a dog unless you think they can win outright.
It's interesting that you say though about the takeaways because Commanders only 3 takeaways this entire season so far. So you're talking about.
It's hard to take the ball away if you're not close to it, which Frankie Louvu, Bobby Wagner, Marshawn Lattimore have not done a lot of. Yeah, have not done a lot of. They're usually behind the ball carrier.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. But no,
all right,
it's a huge disparity.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get some score predictions here in the chat. We're winding down here. It's almost time to listen to Troy Aikman decide if every single play is a conspiracy for the Kansas City Chiefs. I cannot wait for him to. The first flag that exists is like, I don't know about that. Well, actually, it was a delay of game. So there's nothing. Like, I don't know. Every time it's a grand conspiracy with him, it's because our dear friend Joshua Briscoe pissed him off. And he can never let it go. All right, let's see here. Score predictions. For me, I am going 31-17 Chiefs. Chiefs roll. I think once again, I get to enter dialogue about how honorable the Chiefs are that they don't stat pad. They don't have Josh Allen running tush pushes to go up 34 points in the third quarter. Stephen Oach says 34-17. Going to assume he means Chiefs. Let's see here. 35-17 says Sean Browning. 30-17 from Weston Brewster. 87-13. Wow, the Taylor Swift score.
87-13. Woo. I'd love to see that.
Just for the Taylor Swift. I understand that's a Taylor Swift reference. I have a young daughter, so I'm raising a young Swiftie, so I understand these things. 10-30 Chiefs. 30-10. It's weird reading the small score. Jalen Butler's got the Chiefs winning 30-10. Christian, how about you? What do you got in this score?
I've got 27-21 KC. Again, I just think there's going to be that late score where, it looks a lot closer than it actually
And oh, by the way, yeah. Angry Drunken German has them at 32-9 Chiefs. Andre Crisco has the Chiefs winning 38-11. Neil has the Chiefs winning 41-10. Just bring this up real quick and we'll wrap. Some significant injury news for the next couple of opponents for the Chiefs. If you're still dreaming about the 1 seed, this is a must win tonight, simply because you've already written it down in your head that it's going to be a win. So if you lose this game, it almost feels like a double loss, right? You go up to the Bills, who still have a cakewalk of a schedule. You win that game. You got the Broncos coming up. Then you've got the Colts. Like, these next 4 games are crucial if you still are thinking 1 seed for the Chiefs and division. Well, that path got a little bit easier. Ed Oliver has a bicep injury. He is out indefinitely. That's probably the best defensive player for the Bills. No exaggeration there. And then the best defensive player in the league last year, Patrick Surtain, the all-world corner for the Broncos, he has a shoulder injury, and he will be out 4 to 6 weeks, which will include the Chiefs game. That would be right in that time period. So Chiefs catching some breaks here. That looks a lot different, especially whenever we just talked about the Chiefs' ability to go 3, 4, 5 wide at the pass catchers. Big difference between throwing the ball against Riley Moss and Jahdae Barron, who we do love, who got his first pick the other day. Loved it for the brand, hated it for the team. But good to see Jahdae Barron get in there. But some significant matchups there. So Chiefs stay hot. They need to take advantage of this one. We need you to take advantage of Arrowhead Addict. So come back, join us at the halftime show, and then join us afterwards with the post-game celebration. I will be here breaking down all the scores, all the plays from halftime, and then you can meet Patrick Allen, Sterling Holmes, and Adam Best at the post-game party. So let's celebrate. Let's have a good time. Christian, thank you so much for joining me. Always appreciate the extra help. And thank you, producer Richard, for doing a great job. We will see you back here. Go Chiefs.